delicious? No, it is not. Stop saying delicious. Wait, hold on a second. Hey guys, today we're baking up some sweet treats that will go great with a cup of coffee or tea. We've got zucchini bread, a nice coffee cake, and my scrumptious scones. Hi guys, so today we're going to be baking up one of my treasured recipes, my famous zucchini bread. Let's get started. I'm going to finish up grating up 2 cups of zucchini. Oh, it's stuck. Let's get off. You can use any box grater that you would like. You can also totally use a cheat, which I would have done, but I thought it'd be better to show manual labor. But you can totally use a food processor with the grater attachment. This is definitely one of my favorite loaf breads, like along the lines with like carrot bread or carrot cake or banana bread. I really love zucchini bread. And I feel like it's such an underrated dish. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and, in my pride and joy, I'm going to go ahead and add in vegetable oil. I have half a cup. And then I have half a cup of brown sugar. You could use light or dark. Half a cup of white sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a mix. I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 eggs. Mix that up. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and add in 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in roughly 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Alright, now it's zucchini time. Mix that up nicely. To the flour, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of baking soda and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. And then I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of salt. To prevent the raisins from sinking, I'm going to go ahead and take just as like 1 teaspoon worth of flour from this and evenly coat them all so they don't sink. That's the trick for using anything. It also works really good for if you're using fresh fruit as well in any dish, in any baking dish. Alright, give that a mix. Don't go anywhere. Be good. Okay. Thank you. I have half a cup of chopped walnuts that I went ahead and put on a frying pan and just toasted for like 2 to 3 minutes just to release the nuttiness. I'm going to go ahead and throw those in. Mix that up. Alright. And then I will probably fold these golden raisins in. I'm going to just put you down here, okay? It's always good when baking, when you use the mixer, to always mix it up with a spatula just to make sure that you get everything mixed. Go ahead and throw in the raisins. Fold those in. Get my trusty pan and spray just a standard loaf pan. Okay. I'll wear some too. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and throw this into here. Just to give it a little extra something, I'm going to go ahead and add in a sprinkle of raw, how do you pronounce it? Turbot? No, turin. Probably pronouncing this wrong, but it's, we're going to sprinkle on some raw Turbinado. It's the coarse brown sugar that's very thick, and sprinkle that on top. Give it a little, give it a nice caramelized little crunch when you bake it. So I have the oven preheating at 350. I'm going to go ahead and bake this for about an hour, checking it halfway. You know it's cooked when you stick a skewer into it. It might still come with some bits on the skewer, but that's totally fine. I mean, as long as it's not like liquid, because the zucchini adds moisture, so it will be on the more moisture side, but it's still yummy and delicious. Let's get started on the crowd pleaser, coffee cake. I'm going to go ahead and start with the streusel topping. I've got 3 cups of flour that I'm going to add to a mixing bowl. I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 cup packed of brown sugar. And then I also have half a cup of white sugar. I'm going to use a fork and just mix that all up. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of salt. And then shout out to my bestie Hannah. She gave me this delicious cinnamon. I'm going to go ahead and use 2. Wow. All right. What is wrong with me? I could just call it cinnamon salmon. I did. Yes. Anyways. Okay, let's redo that all over again. Got 2 tablespoons of it. Just the smell of this specific cinnamon instantly smells like horchata. It's kind of crazy. Just the cinnamon alone. And I'm gonna need some more. Okay. Give that a mix. And then I have 1 cup of butter that I went ahead and melted in the microwave for about a minute. I'm going to go ahead and add that in here. Mix that up. And you want it to end up looking similar to wet sand. If it has chunks, that's totally fine. Leave that in there because this is just going to be a nice little layer in between the cake batter.
I love that when people travel, they bring you cinnamon.
Oh yeah. But then when I go back home to the UK, my entire suitcase is filled with my favorite gin. Not an alcoholic, I promise. The Isle of Man Fenotary gin. Hands down, best gin in the entire world. And then I usually always have mixed spice because I have to have mixed spice for Christmas for my mince pies. Stay tuned. Really good recipe coming up. It's fine. It's just normal. Absolutely, completely normal. So this will work as a nice consistency. I'm going to go ahead and push it to the side and get started on making the cake batter. Fan. Alright, for the cake batter, I'm going to go ahead and to my mixer, add in 1 cup of white sugar, 3/4 cup of butter that I went ahead and softened, but it still needs to be cold. So not too melted. Get it there. I'm going to go ahead and mix that together, or cream that together. It cracked me up they called this dish a coffee cake, but it has no coffee in it. And I'm like, I get that, but why doesn't it have coffee in it if it's not? Oh, it just makes no sense to me. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and add in 1 tablespoon of baking powder to my flour. And then 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add in one at a time 4 eggs that I've gone ahead and cracked in here. Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape the edges of the bowl. Get everything nicely mixed up. Gonna go ahead and add in 1/2 cup of sour cream. Sour cream adds a little bit of tartness and also helps with the moisture of the cake. Gonna go ahead and add in 1 tablespoon of vanilla. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the dry ingredients. Don't go everywhere, please. Behave. Behave. You good? You good? Yeah. Alright, wobbly camera. I'll just go with it so it looks like it's normal. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and heavily grease my bun pan. You want to go crazy because of all the cracks in it, the amount of times that it gets stuck, but it's not going to. It's gonna behave, okay, baking gods? It's gonna be good. The amount of times when I was a kid. I mean, I'm sure every kid out there did this. Any human being did this. You would give this to your child and they would eat the out of this. I'll say without saying shit.
I'm gonna have to like find a bleep sound. This episode.
Go ahead and put you down. You did a good job. Thank you. Give this a nice mix. Make sure we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and pour 1/2 of this mixture into the cake pan. Could get messy. I'm gonna go ahead and use a spoon just to evenly spread out. Gonna go ahead and spoon the streusel topping mixture as a layer on top of this. And so when you cut into it later, it'll have a nice visible layer of the streusel. Pour the remaining cake batter. Spread the rest of this over that. And why not? Just because I have it, I'll go ahead and sprinkle a little bit more on top. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into an oven that I have preheating at 350. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in for about an hour, checking it halfway. So while the cake is in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and make the icing glaze that's gonna go on top of it. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in 2 cups of powdered sugar into my mixer. A little more. Pretend that was not there. Gonna go ahead and add in 1/4 cup of softened, very soft butter, unsalted. And then I also have 1/4 cup of whole milk. Gonna mix that up real nicely. Hopefully it won't go everywhere. Be good. To the mixer, I'm gonna go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Give that a final mix. Trying to hold it down so it doesn't move. DIY counters, yeah! You know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add a sneaky one thing. Because why not? Everything's better with cream cheese. just gonna add a little bit, just a tiny bit. Just gonna probably add like maybe a tablespoon, just to give it a little something extra. One more time, real fast. Beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That's as far as I can go with that note. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it in a bowl. We're gonna get started on one of my all-time favorite recipes that's gonna take me back home to the Isle of Man, my scones. Let's get started. First things first, I will obviously transfer the measurements to cups, but I'm gonna say it in grams because that's what we do in England. We weigh things. Okay, I have 500 grams of flour. I'm gonna throw it in my mixer. I also might get yelled at by Brits because you're meant to do this with your hands, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do the cheat way, but it still comes out great. I also have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then I have 1 tablespoon of sugar. Gonna mix that up real quickly. And gradually I'm gonna go ahead and add in 150 grams of butter to it. I'm gonna cube it. It should still be cold. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and gradually add this while I'm chopping it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add in 2 eggs. And 4 tablespoons of milk. So before you add the eggs and the milk, I would recommend with the butter, when you're adding the butter, you want it to look like coarse breadcrumbs. And then when it reaches that consistency, you go ahead and add all the liquids to it. And then you don't want it to become a dough ball like it does for a pie crust. You want it to still be loose breadcrumbs, and then we will knead it to make it and form it, so I can then roll it out and cut it and make it into the delicious scones. Hopefully this will not go everywhere. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate this to form a disc. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and roll it. I have my part in here. A little bit of flour on the bottom. Give that a roll carefully. Sorry about the counter moving, but it's fine. I'm going to roll it to about 1 inch. Come on. Come on. There we go. I have the oven temperature preheated at 400. I'm going to now brush the tops of these with egg yolks. The egg yolks they give it a more golden brown crust topping, which is nice. So brush the tops. These are gonna go really nicely with the clotted cream and the yummy strawberry jam that I have. Oh yeah, so these scones are always a huge hit and always a request at all of my bake sales. They're also really good if you throw in some currants. dried currants. They're really, really yummy. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake these for about 8 to 10 minutes. Look at this wonderful spread. Everything to go well with a cup of coffee. We have some wonderful Devon potted cream and some strawberry jam. I've done it the Devon way with the cream on the bottom and then the jam on the top. Oh yeah. I mean, this should be a cup of tea for this, but it's still good. It takes me right back home. Look at all of that. Oh, you can see all the zucchini, the golden raisins, the walnuts. That's really, really good. I really like the sugar that I put on the top, and it gives it a nice little caramelized crunch on the top. Have a little try. It does go really, really well with a cup of coffee. Still don't understand why it's called coffee cake when it doesn't have coffee in it, but I think altogether this is a wonderful spread to have.